South Dakota voters made their voices heard this week, approving both recreational and medical marijuana. Now the work to actually legalize it begins. South Dakota lawmakers are tasked with doing the work of implementing the constitutional amendment, but despite many personally opposing it themselves, Ross and Goss spoke with a few of those lawmakers today.
South Dakotans approved recreational marijuana by a vote of 54% to 45%. Now, the work begins to actually legalize it. Amendment A lays out the framework for what legalized recreational marijuana will look like in South Dakota. That includes selling, growing, and transporting. Many of those questions will be debated by a state legislative body that largely opposed the amendment in the first place.
So Amendment A, is not just an idea. It wasn't just a general concept that's voted on. It was actually about 10 pages of amendment to our Constitution. So there's a fair amount of detail there, and we'll have to wade through that.
The amendment gives certain protections to local jurisdictions that don't want cultivators or retail stores. Legislators also hope to put protections in place that prevent marijuana products from getting into the wrong hands.
We need to recognize, okay, what's going to be the impact on public safety? The states that have passed this recognize they have an increased number of fatalities solely due to marijuana use.
Outside of a challenge in the courts, it would take another constitutional amendment voted on by the people for legal marijuana to be overturned. At this time, many of marijuana's staunchest opponents are just preparing for the next steps.
Less than a week after the election, I'd have to digest and think about that and evaluate it. I'm not prepared to answer that question at the present time.
In the PR Newsroom, I'm Austin.